Solidarity, everyone.
Solidarity!
All around the world, this holiday is celebrated because of the struggle in Chicago in 1886. May 4th, 1886. You all remember. Yeah. We remember every day, don't we? Not just a fight for the 8-hour day, the right to peaceably assemble, the right to a better life, the right to free speech, but probably more important than all of that, it was and became a struggle because of those events, the right to have and share ideas that are not always consistent with what the state or the political elite believe it should be. 8 men were brought to trial. 4 men were hanged, 1 died in prison, 2 got life sentences, and 1 got 15 years because the state's attorney said, convict these men for their ideas to keep our society safe. Union members, workers all around the world keep our society safe because we can be safe when we have fair pay, fair working conditions, and a voice on the job. Yeah. The idea of this monument came up in 1969 when people like Les Sorir and Studs Terkel and Bill Edelman, Ed Sedlowski, and many others got together and said, let's remember the Haymarket and form the Haymarket Workers' Memorial Committee. In 1971, the statue in Forest Park was dedicated to the Illinois Labor History Society, and we take care of it. In 2004, after 34 years, a monument was finally brought to the place where the original struggle took place. And we said, let us have this be a place of international labor representation, dedication, and honor. And every year, we have international labor organizations come and dedicate a plaque, and this monument is almost all surrounded now by plaques. This year, we will be hearing from 2 new plaque dedicators from Ireland and Mexico. Mexico's second plaque. And we have a guest from the Philippines, who I'm going to introduce first because they dedicated a plaque last year, but this man has come all this way for this event. I would first like to introduce Ed Cubuelo, chairman of the Manila chapter of the Kilswang Mayo Uno, the May 1st movement, KMU, the largest and most militant labor union in the Philippines. Ed, will you come and say a few words?
Good day. The Kilusang Mayo Uno, May 1st movement in the Philippines, extends our warm greetings of solidarity to our brothers and sisters in the labor movement in Chicago, in the U.S., and around the world. On this day, the 1st of May, Filipino workers launched mass actions in many major cities in the Philippines. Today, we give the highest salute and recognition to all martyred workers of the world who sacrificed their lives for the worldwide struggle against capitalist exploitation and liberty from oppression. During the 1980s, at the height of Marcos dictatorship in the Philippines, the Filipino workers banded ourselves and formed Kilusang Mayo Uno, the May 1st movement, drawing inspiration from the bravery and heroism of the striking workers in Chicago who were massacred in 1886. KMU was created to advance a genuine militant, patriotic, and anti-imperialist trade unionism with a socialist perspective. Today, in behalf of KMU, I pay tribute to the Filipino and Mexican agricultural workers who, along with Filipino-American Larry It Leong and American and Mexican-American Cesar Chavez, to form a strong labor movement of agricultural workers in the U.S. I also would like to pay tribute to Filipino-Americans Silme Domingo and Jean Viernes, leaders of ILWU Local 73, who were murdered by hitmen of the dictator Marcos. We were invited to come here in the U.S. by the Malaya movement to raise awareness on the grave human rights situation in the Philippines. Labor leaders fighting for workers' rights as jailed for trump-up cases, and many were killed or summarily executed under the Duterte regime. In the speaking tour, we were able to lobby and visit offices of American senators and congressmen. We were able to speak with workers at the West Coast, Midwest, and the East Coast, among them the U.S. Postal Workers, the International Longshore and Workers Union, SEIU, APALA, Teachers Union, Nurses Union, AT&T workers, and the local councils of AFL-CIO in Minnesota and Milwaukee. The San Francisco Labor Council passed a resolution expressing strong support to end U.S. military funding in the Philippines, and we are hoping to get more resolution of support. Lastly, we thank the Illinois Labor Historical Society for dedicating a KMU plaque at the Haymarket Square. I treasure this moment to be able to stand before you at Haymarket and to be able to celebrate with you International Workers' Day. Mabuhay! Long live international solidarity! Workers of the world unite!
And from around the world they come to dedicate a plaque because this is the birthplace of the international labor movement. From Ireland, Teresa Hennick is a divisional organizer for the Services Industrial Professional Technical Union, the largest union in Ireland.
Happy May Day, brothers and sisters! On International Workers' Day, which is a day of protest, camaraderie and celebration, I bring to all of you here a message of solidarity from the Irish trade union movement, and particularly from the members of my union, Ireland's largest trade union, SIPTU. SIPTU is extremely honoured to be invited to make a plaque dedication here at the Haymarket Memorial. This memorial is seen by us as a powerful symbol of protest and reminds us all of the fundamental principles of freedom of speech, freedom of assembly, organising workers, justice, and the right of every human being to pursue an equitable and prosperous life. It also reminds us of the battles and sacrifices those who walked before us made to gain those principles, and how we, who now carry that torch, must fight to protect these principles from the onslaught of greed, consumerism, populism, sexism and racism that workers across the world face every day. This generation and generations to come are paying a very heavy price for the greed of a chosen few at the top, all brought about by political systems throughout the world that have a light touch regulation and hero worship of those in the golden circle who are perceived as having the Midas touch, but in reality have no vision, no concept of what a society should be, and worse still, despise the value of solidarity and trade unionism. SIPTU, my union, was established in 1990 with the merger of Ireland's two largest unions, the ITGWU, which was established in 1909, and the Federated Workers' Union of Ireland, established in 1924. Both unions were founded by Big Jim Larkin. Jim Larkin, we had strong links to the American labor history, the labor history movement. You would have heard Jim was imprisoned in Sing Sing for many years. He was connected with Mother Jones, as was James Connolly. Larkin and James Connolly are colossal figures in the Irish trade union movement, and particularly in our union, SIPTU. And we have strong links to the American labor unions, and we maintain them to this day. We hold on in my union to the principles of solidarity, equality, fairness and justice, both of our founders espoused 100 years ago. SIPTU remains committed to Larkin's dictum that an injury to one is a concern of all, and pursuing the twin objectives of fairness at work and justice in society. The plaque that SIPTU is dedicating here today contains an image of our founder, Jim Larkin. The image is of a statue of Larkin that stands in the main street in Dublin, the capital city of Ireland, and it is a commemoration to the 1913 lockout in Ireland, where the Dublin business classes starved the Dublin workers into submission. And the quote here is a quote, it's an extract on that memorial statue, and it's an extract that is in French, Irish and English, and I won't do the French because I can't speak French, and I won't do the Irish because you might find that a bit weird, but I'll do the English. It is from a speech Larkin gave in the 1913 lockout. It is not an original Larkin slogan. It appeared years earlier in the Irish Socialist Republican Party's paper, The Workers' Republic, but it is the one slogan that is most associated with Larkin and the 1913 lockout in Ireland. And this is what it says. It says, "The great appear great because we are on our knees. Let us rise." Comrades, let us rise.
Before I introduce our last guest, I want to thank the Chicago Federation of Labor for immediately in 2005 saying they would be a partner in this event, and it has taken a leadership role. The idea for some of us that organized labor would say May Day is our holiday at one point in time many decades ago seemed unreal, but now it's real. And our president of the Chicago Federation, Bob Ryder, who couldn't be here today, has the esteemed Don Villar emceeing this event, and I'm so happy that the Chicago Federation of Labor continues to help us out. I would now like to bring up Linda Robles, Secretary General of Casa del Obrero Mundial.
Good afternoon, friends, queridos compañeros y compañeras.
He already started. Good afternoon, brothers and sisters.
Seamos todos bienvenidos a este importante evento organizado por la Illinois Labor History Society, presidida por nuestro amigo Larry Spivak, a quien pido un aplauso fraterno para el compañero por todo este trabajo que ha venido realizando en favor del movimiento obrero.
Good afternoon, and maybe all welcome. You're all welcome at this important event, or it's not on. Organized by the Illinois Labor History Society, presided by Larry Spivak, and the participation of the Illinois Federation.
No se oye. A ver,
How about,
pásate
am
para
I
acá,
loud
compañera.
enough?
Pasa acá. Ah.
Don't make me use my teacher.
Ah, ya.
Can you hear me now?
No, ya se oía.
I don't know. Technical difficulties. How about now?
Here, let's
All
do
right.
this. Here you go. You go up there.
Here.
Okay. All right.
Ah.
We're not going to be stopped. We're not going to be stopped. going to give a very good translation. So first of all, we're going to begin again by thanking everyone for being here, and we're going to recognize this important event organized by the Illinois Labor History Society, presided by Larry Spivak, with the participation of the Federation of Labor that's present here and the Secretary-Treasurer, Don Villar.
Aplauso, por favor.
Okay, dale.
Hoy nos encontramos presentes en el lugar conmemorativo en que dio inicio el movimiento obrero organizado de los tiempos modernos.
We are here gathered in the place that started it all, here in the Haymarket Square, the place that we all recognize that started the labor movement in Chicago.
Lugar donde ocurrió la terrible matanza de trabajadores que luchaban por una jornada máxima y efectiva de 8 horas de trabajo.
The place where there were terrible massacre of laborers that were fighting for a decent labor work hour of 8 hours a day.
En aquellos años, compañeros, fue promulgada la ley Ingersoll por el entonces presidente de los Estados Unidos, André Johnson.
In those days, in 1868, the law Ingersoll was promulgated by the then President of the United States, Andrew Johnson.
Sin embargo, esa ley no fue bien recibida ni aplicada por los capitalistas de ese tiempo.
This law was not well received and applied to the capitalists of those days.
La reducción de la jornada máxima y efectiva de 8 horas, al no ser bienvenida, los sindicatos y organizaciones de trabajadores organizados convocaron para el día 1 de mayo de 1886 un paro de labores.
The decrease in the labor hours was not well received. And for that reason, the workers came together on the first day of May of 1866 to declare a work stoppage.
En ese tiempo, la ciudad con peores condiciones de trabajo era la ciudad de Chicago, por lo cual 200,000 trabajadores hicieron un paro de labores.
In those days, the city with the worst aggressions and working conditions was this city of Chicago, where more than 200,000 laborers created a movement to stop the work.
Y otros 200,000 trabajadores, con la simple amenaza del paro de labores, obtuvieron el beneficio de una jornada máxima de 8 horas de trabajo.
And another 200,000 just by threatening to stop working. Those days they achieved a work day of 8 hours.
Fue así. Fue así que el paro se prolongó los días 2 y 3 de mayo, estando el compañero August Spies en la tribuna, salieron del centro de trabajo Esquiroles.
And that is how the strike lasted from May, 2 days, May the 2nd and the 3rd, when our brother August Spies was in court, and they all came out on that day.
Que fueron respaldados por una compañía de policías y sin dar aviso, iniciaron los disparos, matando ahí mismo a 6 trabajadores y ocasionando decenas de heridos.
And at that time, that is when the police, without any notice, came out and just started shooting and killing our brothers and sisters in that day. And 6 of our brothers and sisters, laborers, were injured and others were killed.
Es por ello que en 1904, la Segunda Internacional reunida en Ámsterdam pidió a todos los partidos, sindicatos y organizaciones socialdemócratas luchar enérgicamente el día 1 de mayo para lograr el establecimiento legal de la jornada máxima y efectiva de 8 horas de trabajo.
And that is why and how in 1904 the international meeting in Amsterdam created and forced to bring together the union brothers and sisters, the unions, the organizations of the Social Democrats to get energized and start to declare May 1st as the day and place to get an 8-hour workday.
Fue así que en ese congreso se estableció a nivel mundial que todas las organizaciones festejaran el día festivo oficial en honor a la clase obrera, lo cual se ha logrado paulatinamente en todos los países del mundo.
And that is how, in that Congress, the organizations came together, international organizations, to recognize May 1st as the International Day of our labor movement.
Fue así que en 1913, el día 1 de mayo, en México se celebró por primera vez la marcha del 1 de mayo para exigir la jornada máxima y efectiva de 8 horas, pero sobre todo para celebrar y conmemorar el martirio que estos próceres hicieron por el movimiento obrero organizado del mundo.
All right, let's recognize that. And that is how May 1st, in the city of Mexico, for the first time they came out to fight for and recognize the labor movement for all our brothers and sisters in the labor movement in Mexico, which was the first time they gathered this recognition. Let's recognize that, brothers and sisters. Yes, we can.
Aquellos obreros de México que marcharon el día 1 de mayo de 1912, al año siguiente se convirtieron en los gloriosos batallones rojos de México que lucharon por la Revolución Mexicana y que dio origen a la primera Constitución Social de México.
I'll try that one. And that is how the first valiant laborers of Mexico came out to fight for, and the martyrs actually of the movement came together, recognized as the Red Squadron, and their movement began the march for the Red Squadron in Mexico.
El movimiento obrero organizado en los Estados Unidos desde sus inicios fue liderado por don Samuel Gompers, amigo del prócer del movimiento obrero en México, Ricardo Flores Magón.
And that is how at that time the leader of the labor movement, Samuel Gumper, who was a friend of the labor movement leader in Mexico, Ricardo Flores Magón, they worked together and to commemorate May 1st in 1913.
Estos dos hombres próceres del movimiento obrero tuvieron una idea, una visión, la creación de un movimiento obrero a nivel continental, la creación de la Pan American Federation of Labor para unir como hermanos a todos los obreros del continente.
Okay, let that sink in a little bit what we're talking about here. And that is how these two great men came together with the vision, to create an organized worldwide movement of laborers known as the El Movimiento Obrero Organizado en el Continente. That's what they did to create the vision to bring all our labor brothers and sisters together in an organized movement.
Hoy toca a los actuales liderazgos que hagamos realidad los sueños de estos dos iniciadores del movimiento obrero en los Estados Unidos y México. Y yo propongo, compañeros, que luchemos por establecer la Pan American Federation of Labor en favor de todos los trabajadores del continente.
And that is how it is up to us to continue this movement and make it a reality of the Pan-American forces in defense of the labor movement. It is up to us to continue with their vision.
Les voy a pedir a todos los presentes un homenaje.
I'm going to ask all of you to take a moment to recognize and honor the following.
A los 8 héroes del movimiento obrero, aquellos 8 iniciadores a los cuales vamos a dar su nombre uno a uno, y yo les pido que cuando terminemos de decir cada nombre, digamos presente para recordar a nuestros héroes obreros.
I ask of you, we're going to recognize the first 8 strong brothers and sisters in this movement. After each name, you say present because we believe they are here with us.
August Vincent Theodore Spice.
Present.
Albert Pearson.
Present.
Adolf Fischer.
Present.
George Engel.
Presente.
Louis Link.
Presente.
Michel Schwab.
Presente.
Oscar Neff.
Presente.
Samuel Fildan.
Present.
Que viva don Samuel Gompers. Que viva la Federation of Labor in America.
¡Que viva! ¡Que viva! ¡Sí se puede! ¡Sí se puede!
Voy a pedir que pase el compañero Larry Spivak, porque le vamos a entregar la presea primer centenario de la Casa del Obrero Mundial por todo el trabajo que ha hecho en favor del movimiento obrero del mundo.
Larry, we're going to turn this into you. It's a little recognition of all your great work for our labor brothers and sisters in the movement.
Yeah! Thank you, thank you. Thank you so much. Thank you.
Le voy a pedir al compañero Don Villar que se sirva a hacerme el honor de que de sus manos le imponga la presea primer centenario de la Casa del Obrero Mundial al compañero Larry Spivak.
Put on Larry. Here you go, Larry. There you go. There you go, Larry.
Muchas gracias. Felicidades a todos, compañeros, y vamos por la lucha. ¡Que viva el movimiento obrero organizado del mundo! ¡Que viva! ¡Que viva!
You know, we have a lot of labor fights going on in the city. We right now, our brothers and sisters at the charter schools and at IFT 1708, they're on the picket line fighting for something better. You know, and that is the history of the Chicago labor movement, right? We fight. We don't give up. And I mean, in this crowd, we have our brothers and sisters from the building trades, the service sector, public sector, education, manufacturing, industry, broadcast, you know, print section, transit. So you guys fight each and every day. And you know, in the past year, even before these fights that are going on right now, we've had some tough fights. You know, I want to recognize an ongoing fight at the Cambria Hotel. Our brothers and sisters that unite here. Maria, do you have a second?
Sí se puede. Buenas tardes. Me llamo María Barragán y llevo 10 años trabajando de recamarera en el Hotel Cambria.
Good afternoon, my name is Maria Barragan. I've been working as a housekeeper at the Cambria Hotel for 10 years.
En pocos días van a ser 8 meses que estamos en huelga en el Cambria.
In a few days, it will be 8 months that we've been on strike at the Cambria Hotel.
El hotel quiere aumentarnos 2 cuartos por día, pero no se preocupen, no van a poder hacerlo.
The hotel wants to increase our workload by 2 rooms per shift, but don't worry, we're not going to let them do it.
Seguiremos en la huelga el tiempo que haga falta para ganar un contrato justo.
We're going to stay on strike as long as it takes to win a fair contract.
Estoy muy orgullosa de ser parte del movimiento de trabajadores en Chicago.
I'm so proud to be a part of the labor movement in Chicago.
El año pasado ganamos la huelga en 25 hoteles gracias al apoyo de todos los trabajadores y las uniones de Chicago.
Last year, we won strikes at 25 hotels thanks to the support of workers all over the city and unions.
Y con el respaldo de ustedes ganaremos en mi hotel. Sí se puede. ¿Sí se puede? ¡Sí se puede! Gracias.
And with all your support, we're going to win the strike at the Cambria too. ¡Sí se puede! ¡Sí se puede! ¡Sí se puede! ¡Sí se puede! ¡Sí se puede!
Gracias. Thank you.
Thank you, Maria. You know, the other strike, we got to recognize something that just ended recently. Our brothers and sisters at the CSO, Chicago Federation of Musicians. Terry.
I'll just stand back here. Okay, hey, thank you all for coming out and supporting the Chicago Symphony Orchestra musicians. I also want to thank all of you that came out to support our lyric opera musicians in the fall. If it wasn't the support of labor, we probably wouldn't have been able to get the deal that we got. Labor stood behind us 100%. They were out there walking with our people every single day, giving them encouragement, helping them. It's not normal for symphony musicians to be walking on the street. That's not what we do. But, you know, during the Chicago Symphony, it was 7 long weeks. It was a horrible spring, as we all well know. Today's May 1st, and we still have jackets on. We had snow this weekend, but those musicians were out there every single day.
All right!
And it was the support of everybody in the labor union that helped them stay solid, stay unified, and work to get a deal. You know, it's hard these days in labor. Management is wanting to take away everything. They want to cut. They want to take away pensions. And that was what we were fighting for, not just here in Chicago, but across the country. We had the top orchestra, the top symphony orchestra, and they wanted to move them down from being number 1 to being number 4 or number 5. They wanted to take away their defined benefit plan and turn it into a defined contribution plan.
All right!
We didn't win everything. And as we all know, you don't always win everything that you want. We had to give up part of our defined benefit plan, but we got a 20-year guarantee on a 7.5% contribution to a defined contribution. I'm the president of the Chicago Federation of Musicians. I'm only in my first term. I've been here for 2.5 years. However, I was the vice president for 12 years and a board member of the Chicago Federation of Musicians for 9 years before that. I've been involved in the labor movement for a very, very long time. I sit behind the desk of the great James Petrillo. And James Petrillo is probably the only other president of the Chicago Federation of Musicians that led a labor strike longer than 7 weeks. His problem was recording. Recording industry started making records, playing records on the radios, displacing musicians. He shut down the radios from 1942 until 1947. We only had to shut down Orchestra Hall for 7 weeks to get what we were asking for, but I feel that we've had a victory there. And thank you, everyone, for that help. So once again, I'll just summarize by saying the musicians stand strong with every other labor struggle. If there's anything that we can help you out with, please feel free to give us a call. We're all brothers and sisters in this, and we're all in it together.
Thank you, Terry. Thank you. You know, just want to recognize a couple other actions that took place in the past year. And the SEIU and the windshield window washers, that was a great strike. And how you brought this, you won great respect and rights there. The other strike, Workers United, CMRJB, the strike over at our chapter in Marks. Again, you know, the solidarity of the movement, it helps move the company off of their, off their keister, thank you, off their butts, and win us a compromise. But there are other actions that are always taking place, and I mean, I just want to bring up a couple right now. You know, there are so much fights going on. I guess in the media industry, in the broadcast news industry, we got fights at NABAT CWA over at the Spanish television, Telemundo Univision. They're fighting for contracts right now. At WBBM Radio, I don't know if they're here, there's a fight going on right now. And at the Tribune, fighting for a new contract at the News Guild, as well as machinists who operate the machinery over there. So we have a lot of labor fights that are also in the background. And, you know, we continue to stand in solidarity with them. You know, the other big fight that's going on is actually out at O'Hare. You know, we've got like several unions that are struggling, fighting for a fair contract. Yeah, I want to bring out like our AFA, CWA, the flight attendants over at Air Wisconsin. You know, they haven't had a new contract in 3 years. So, Derek, why don't you come up here?
Hello, Chicago. How you doing?
Good!
So I'm here as your brother. I want to thank the CFL for inviting me out to speak with you today about the plight of Air Wisconsin and what we're going through. It has not been fun. It has not been easy. Yeah. Can you hear me now?
There you go.
Okay, so I'm part of a bigger organization called the Association of Flight Attendants. I have 50,000 brothers and sisters that are lending our voices to you, because if you are damn sick and tired of being damn sick and tired, put your hand down.
Yeah!
And I'd like to tell you a little bit about my airline. We're a small regional airline contracted exclusively to United Airlines to operate as United Express. And we've been in contract negotiations for 2 years. As you know how it goes, it all goes good until we start to talk about the money. When we started to talk about the money, contract negotiations stalled. They've been stalled for 2 years. Last November, we voted overwhelmingly 99% to authorize a strike vote.
Way to go!
Yeah.
All right!
Because we're upset our company does not want to negotiate a quality contract in good faith. I work at 30,000 feet every day. I did not pretend to not know how to do my job. I know how to do my job. Like all of you, we all know how to do our jobs. I watch the news. The newspaper tells me that the economy is booming. Politicians tell me that the economy is booming. Airline profits are soaring. But I say, wait a minute. You offered me a 2% wage increase. 2%. But for me, a 19-year flight attendant is 66 cents an hour. We have brand new flight attendants who've been in our company less than a year who are being paid less than $15,000 a year. They're surviving, thank you. They're surviving on payday loans. They're in food lines. They're borrowing money from me. Money from their parents. Wrong. Say wrong. And what we want is to be acknowledged by the airlines.
Yes.
Airlines contribute to the success of the U.S. economy.
Yes.
The workers contribute to the success of the U.S. economy. We want a fair contract.
Right.
We operate 65 jets. 11,000 people we fly around the country every day, safely. 20 states, 50 destinations. And there we go. They say no. What am I to do? What are we all to do?
Right.
And that's what we're going to continue to do. Last month, a lot of you came out to support us at Chicago O'Hare. We're going to be back in Washington, D.C. on May 9th between 1 to 2 p.m. asking for fair wages. Now, I mentioned that I was Association of Flight Attendants. Our member, our national president, Sarah Nelson, is one of the greatest we've had, and she's been out there championing these issues and bringing a lot of light, you've seen it, to the issues that affect flight attendants. So we're not saying that we don't want people to fly. We want people to fly. We want people to fly United. We want people to fly Air Wisconsin. What we are saying is think about us. We have been on your team. It is now time you get on ours. Thank you,
Eric. Yeah. You know, earlier this year, we had that government shutdown. I want to recognize our federal workers. AFG over here. 35 days. They were furloughed. They were out of work, and it took the labor movement. It took union members to finally get the government to open up, to realize what was going on. When they realized that the planes couldn't fly because of union members, what they do? They ended the shutdown. And that's the value, the importance of AFG, and for all the folks in aviation. And I want to recognize another group that's fighting over at O'Hare, CWA Local 4202.
Hi, welcome everybody, and Derek, that I do support you very well. We understand your plight with the flight attendants. I'd like to introduce myself. My name is Martha Chentis, and I've worked for Envoy Airlines for 30 years. It's considered one of American Airlines' wholly owned subsidiary regionals, also known as American Eagle. I'm part of a group of 5,500 workers all over the country who voted to form a union over 3 years ago, and since we've unionized, the company has dragged out the negotiations and has not agreed to pay a living wage. In the last 3 years, they've only given us one raise, totaling 15 cents. Yet those bag fees that they charge you every time you guys come to the airport and you check a bag has totaled over $400 million, which they have not paid any taxes on since 2012 when they went and filed bankruptcy, and then Trump made sure last year that they will also enjoy those tax cuts. At O'Hare, we operate more flights than our mainline, American Airlines. This summer we're going to be operating approximately 336 flights a day versus their 260 something, I'm not really sure the numbers. But because of our low wages, our agents only make about $12 an hour in Chicago. Our low wages, it's difficult to retain employees. Our employees, it's a constant revolving door turnstile, which leaves us with it's hard to retain workers. Let's just put it that way. And 36% of our employees at O'Hare rely on public assistance. So I don't remember. I don't remember public assistance actually being a subsidiary for a multi-billion-dollar company. So with that, I join everybody here for the fight and cause that we're all out here for. And I hope that we all continue to put pressure forward so that everybody can enjoy what we deserve. Thank you very much.
Thank you. You know, I want to recognize, UAW here, our brothers and sisters who make at the Ford plant, who work hard each and every day. You know, they actually have a fight over there on organizing. You know, one of the companies over there is trying to keep the union out, because guess what? Chicago's a union town. Union's going into that shop. We're going to get Flexingate. That's a shop down there by the Ford campus, and we got to turn that union. Hey? Yeah. And I want to recognize our brothers and sisters in the building trades. You know, each and every day, they build these buildings all around us. They're involved in the building and construction trades. This city was built by union labor. Our brothers and sisters in Leuna. And all our other brothers and sisters in the building trades. I mean, look around us. This is all done with union labor. And we stand with them each and every day. So, when you see that rat going up on a work site, be sure to honk your horn and give him an earful, okay? So, let's see, anything else? Actually, another fight that's been going on over at AT&T. Again, another company where it's a wealthy company, but folks are struggling to get a new contract there. So I want to Sylvia Chapman.
Brothers and sisters, my name is Sylvia Chapman, and I'm Vice President of Telecommunications and Technologies at CWA, Local 4250. CWA's Legacy T and Midwest contracts with AT&T expired on April 14, 2018. Since that time, we have been working without a contract. CWA has been trying to negotiate a new contract at AT&T, but the company won't commit to preserving and creating good jobs. They also want us to spend more of our wages on health insurance. In late 2017, Congress passed massive tax cuts for corporations, which went into effect in January 2018. During and after the congressional debate of those tax cuts, lots of promises were made. Randall Stevenson, the CEO of my employer, AT&T, said the passage of the tax cuts would create at least 7,000 new AT&T jobs. Instead of creating 7,000 jobs like they promised, AT&T has eliminated almost 11,000 CWA members' jobs. And most of them have been from the offshore and call center jobs. Instead of seeing the promised benefits, we've only seen the exact opposite. Good union jobs eliminated, wages stagnant, and health care cut. CWA has tried to find out what the company is doing with the $3 billion tax it got last year from the tax cuts. We filed a complaint with the NLRB when the company wouldn't tell us, but the NLRB dismissed our complaint. Now we're asking Congress to find out what happened with the $3 billion tax cut. The tax bill was supposed to raise wages and create jobs. It's important for Congress to pass bills that support working people like you and me instead of helping making super rich CEOs even richer.
That's right.
I'm asking for your support and asking Congress to hold AT&T accountable. Thank you.
Thank you, Sylvia. Thank you. Thank you, Sylvia. The other thing I want to recognize our brothers and sisters in the AFSCME in the public sector. Last year in July, we had that Janus ruling come down. Ooh. But you know what? One thing that Chicago and AFSCME and the rest of the labor movement in this city, we are a fortress union town. Yeah. Around us is all red. But you know what? Here in Chicago, we are a fortress union town. We stand strong for each other, and that's what the labor movement's all about. So that's one thing about AFSCME. You guys are taking it on the chin, but you're getting back up to keep fighting and fighting. Janice isn't. We're not scared of Janice. We are not scared of Janice. You don't know Janice. You know, anything else? Is there anybody else who has something going on? What? Janice has empowered us. Janice has gotten people off their duffs to really fight for the labor movement, and that's what we're seeing. Instead of rolling over and taking Janice, no, we're standing up and fighting. So, now I want to recognize also some of our elected officials here. Alderman Rosa. Who else is out there? Thanks. I saw Dave Orr. Is it right there? David Orr. But yeah, you know, thanks for standing in solidarity with us. If there's nothing else.
Name it.
Oh, you know what?
Quick word.
Sure, Chris. Okay.
I'll use this. How you doing, everybody? Good. All right. My name's Chris Willitson. I'm the president of CWA NABIT for Local 41. I represent about 1,000 men and women who work in the broadcast industry, some of who are here today. I want you to do me a favor. On the count of 3, let's all shout Union Strong. Are you with me? 1, 2, 3. Union Strong! That's right. Did you hear that? Yes. I don't know about you, but I just heard a bunch of people who believe in this movement, who will stand up for one another, not only in life, but in the workplace. So, as this group of people continue to stand and fight for each other, we need to stand together to fight the corporate greed, the onslaught of a reduction of benefits, and the reduction of wages for our workers. So, when we return to the workplace, let's remember that we all stand stronger when we stand together. Remind your coworkers, when we're here together, we make a much bigger voice. So take that back to your workplace, and let's all stand together. Union strong? Yeah! Union strong! Thank you very much.
Thanks, Chris. Thanks, Chris. Thanks, everyone. Well, that wraps up our May Day here. I know we have a lot of other things going on. We got a town hall down the street, and celebrate Mother Jones's birthday over at the Irish Heritage Center. So thank you, everybody. Happy May Day.
Happy May Day!